Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's episode of The Chop with Marvin Lee. And true to form, we're going to continue tonight with part 3 of the series that we've started. Um, let's talk about love. So, again, first week we started with, before I even go there, let me just back up for a moment because I do want to say that, this week we have some people that are um, potentially going to be affected by Hurricane Milton. So if you are on the west coast of Florida, or if you're anywhere in the projected path of the storm, I do pray that you will seek shelter. I want everyone to remain safe. Don't do anything stupid. Don't drown. Turn around. Um, what else? Hmm, I don't know what else there is to say, but seriously, take this storm very seriously. Again, be careful in whatever you do. If you're under an evacuation order, please evacuate. Um, um, I do, as I said, I want us to continue with all of my people are here. Hello, everybody. I do want to continue with the series that we started talking about love. And before I even go there, love does a lot of things. Love suffers long, and that means love is patient, very patient. And I'm grateful that I know the things about love now that I do know. And I'm going to say some things that are going to sound controversial because I'm not afraid to do that. Number one. Um, and so I want to go ahead and say this. I want to say, we are in the midst of an election season. And there are friends that are falling out. Well, number one, if you're falling out that easily behind people that don't know you by first name and only want your vote, did you really have a friendship in the first place? But let me go ahead and say this too, because I'm big, bad, black, and bold enough to say it. So I'm going to say it. Instead of parroting talking points that have not been verified by yourself, things that are verifiably false, instead of sounding ignorant, get the facts for yourself. Even scripture says, in all of your getting, get understanding, and to study to show yourself approved. So I do have some friends, if you're talking about, um, let's not try to capitalize on somebody else's misfortunes. And that's a lot of what's going on now because love won't do that. So if you're one of those people that are repeating the lie that, the government's only giving people $750, please have several seats, sit down, don't say anything else, because number one, it's up from $250 from where it was under the last administration. And that's just a flat fee that, FEMA is dispersing this because people have needs immediately. And then they go through the approval process to apply for the funding in terms of loss or damage to property and go from there. So stop saying things that are fake news only because it doesn't suit your narrative, because love will make you do a lot of things, but it will not make you seek out or capitalize on somebody else's misfortune. So let's stop that, please, because we're all better than this. And if you're one of the people that's, promoting the lie and you're continuing to push that agenda, you're part of the problem. You're not part of the solution. Again, stop it, because we're better than that. I said it. And if you don't like it, send me a direct message and I'll be glad to respond to you. Yes, I said it. Okay, now we're back. So how are we doing? How are we doing? How are we doing? So the first week we were talking about what the Bible says about love. We were coming from 1 John 4:7-8. For number one, when we love, that's how the world knows that we are of God, right? How can I say that I am godly, but I don't have love, right? How can I say that I'm godly if I don't have love? Excuse me. And not only that, love is unconditional. So that means that love, there are no conditions on love. Love does a lot of things, but one thing love is not going to do, love's not going to lie to me. Love is not going to lie to me. This one is one that is that I have to work on even now. I have to be deliberate with it. It says, but I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Again, if I want to convince you that I am known of God, known by God, and I am an ambassador of God. He just told me that I got to pray for those that persecute me and are my enemies, right? You may not like me because of the color of my skin, my sexual orientation, my gender, my political affiliations, or whatever else, but I was commanded to pray for you. That's my part of the assignment. That's my side of the street. That is what I'm supposed to do, right? That is a commandment. There are so many things, there's so many more commandments in the Bible other than just the 10 commandments that we were given initially. We all know those, but what about the rest of them? And then for me to say, well, you know what, the Bible was written by man. It didn't change the fact that God is who he says he is. And in the beginning was the Word was with God, the Word was God. If the Word was God then, the Word is God now. I don't care what you say, how you slice it, or anything else. God is who he is. And whether any man, do you think anybody can be more powerful than God? Do you think what we have in this dispensation of grace, if God did not intend for us to have it, we would not have it. And not only do we have God's written word, but you can't have any excuse. You don't have an excuse because we were also given his spirit. His spirit teaches us and reveals all things to us. So again, there's nothing hidden that will not be revealed. Even if it's in his word, it is not hidden. It is going to be revealed. And let's go a step further. If there's something that you're doing and you think you're being slick with it, or you're being on the low with it, or you got a sneaky link or whatever, trust me, there's nothing that you do in secret that's not going to be revealed, because the very thing that you try to do behind closed doors, guess what? It's going to end up in the public arena. In all things, let God be true and every man a liar. Love. So let me love my enemies and those that are persecuting me. And see, and this is something that I have to be mindful of. This is something that I have to work towards. And let me say this real quick. Love will make me show up every week and do exactly what I'm doing right now, even if nobody's watching. Even when I sit here, because I've been guilty of this myself. It is so easy to scroll through memes. It is so easy to scroll on TikTok and waste so much of my life, so much of my day doing things that are not productive, that are counterproductive to anything that I really got going on, and just waste my life. And I'm not doing anything for myself or anybody else. And so doing, sure, I might spread a little cackle through it by passing the funny meme around. But what about a podcast such as this one that gives you the ability to learn something about something that is relevant, that will put you in a position or put you in an arena to have your life shaped differently around a particular subject, love. We're going to talk about some other stuff too, but something that's going to feed your spirit, something that's going to build you up and boost you and allow you to be that person that can be who you've always desired to be. I hear so many people that talk about their problems, but when you have a solution in hand or somebody's feeding you a solution to the problem that you have, it is so easy to sit there and go the opposite direction because it's a gift, because the gift ain't wrapped the way I want it to be wrapped, because the person that gave me the gift, I don't like them. It's not going to be a gift. Well, you know what that tells me right there? You're not seeking help. You're seeking attention. You don't want the solution. You want the attention. First question I have to ask myself is, do I want to, if I'm suffering or if I'm experiencing pain, do I really want to change? Do I want change or do I want attention? Some of us like the suffering because the suffering gets us attention. So it's not that we don't have the ability to change or the capability of changing. And I'm getting off track here because I'm supposed to be talking about love. Anyways, let me get back over here. Matthew 5:44. But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. That best friend that stole your boyfriend, God, pray for them. Because if you love them, you're going to do what I ask you to do anyway. And the blessing of God's commandment is for you anyways. It's not for the other person. If I am willing and obedient, then I will enjoy the good of the land. Well, what do I have to be obedient to? The commandments of God. What are the commandments of God? His word. How do I know the will of God? By getting in the word of God. The will of God is never known apart from the word of God. Point blank, period. I don't care how you slice it. I'm just one of those people that, again, for so long, this has been something that I know beyond a shadow of a doubt I've been called to do, and I've restricted my ability to do so. I've allowed fear to limit me from speaking the truth. I have been in positions where I knew to say certain things and I refused to say it. I knew it was God saying, say this, but I'm worried about how I'm going to look if I say this because I don't want to offend anybody. Guess what? God ain't concerned about your feelings. God is concerned about your spirit. Your feelings will get you messed up. Your feelings will get you so far off track. It's not even funny, but God ain't concerned about those feelings. He's concerned about your spirit. Now, God ain't gonna hurt you. No, he won't be. He'll say some things that are gonna make you very uncomfortable. And if you don't change, then it's on you. So again, don't blame God for anything that don't blame God for your mistakes because that's on you. Anyways, and he said to him, you shall love the Lord your God with all of your heart and with all of your soul and with all of your mind. Matthew 22:37. Since we're just talking about love, if I love the Lord my God with all of my heart, my soul, and my mind, I ought to be willing to do whatever, whenever, for whomever, because it's about him. And that's how you know that you love others, is how you serve them. Because how you serve others is a direct reflection of your love for God in the first place. If you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners love those who love them. Luke 6:32. Oh, you only love the people that speak kindly about you. But if somebody tells you the truth, oh, they're the enemy. No, that person that told you the truth, they're really your friend. Faithful are the wounds of a friend. What that is saying is that when somebody speaks the truth to you, I'm going to tell you what you need to hear and not what you want to hear. But if I got somebody that's always willing to co-sign my tomfoolery, you better watch that person. You got somebody that's really ready for you to walk off a cliff with them. Faithful are the wounds of a friend. And a friend loveth at all times, but a brother is born for adversity. That means when I'm going to love you in your good, I'm going to love you in your bad. I'm going to love you when you're up. I'm going to love you when you're down. If I'm your friend, I'm going to love you no matter what. But when times are adverse, that's when we move from that friendship level to we're family, we're blood, that bond, that kindredness. Nothing can separate that. But at the end of the day, that's what love will do for you. Love comes in layers. If you love me, you will keep my commandments. John 14:15. Again, we're just talking. What are God's commandments? They're a lot. Love your neighbors, you love yourself. Do unto others, you will have others do unto you. In other words, if you don't want to be hurt, don't hurt nobody. If you want to be left alone, leave other people alone. If you don't want to experience drama, don't cause drama for anybody else. If you want to know peace, allow somebody else to know peace. If you don't want to be lied to, don't lie to nobody else. It's not that hard. We complicate these things. He who has my commandments and keeps them is the one who loves me, and he who loves me will be loved by my Father, and I will love him or disclose myself to him. I wish I had a revelation of who God is, and I just want to have an experience with God. Well, love people. He said it, I didn't. He will show himself to you if you obey him, if you love him, his people, if you love him. That's those are his words, not mine. Just as the Father has loved me, I have also loved you. Abide in my love. John 15:9. Abide. That means stay in it. Don't get out of it. I want to stay sealed in that. I want to stay, because in God's love is where my protection is. It's in that protection of God's love where I remain connected. So the connection brings protection. Connection brings protection. And I want to stay connected, vitally connected. But God demonstrates his own love toward us in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. Romans 5:8. I mean, God loved us so much that he gave the best that he had. That's his son. And there's a lot of us that talk about how much we love other people, but I guarantee you wouldn't do what God did. There's a program that I'm a 12-step program that I'm a member of, and I keep hearing people that always say, if you want what we have, do what we do. No different than the kingdom of God. If you want what he has, do it the way he said do it. What are you willing to do? What are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to undergo in order to be all that you can be? Your best self. We're just talking. We're just talking. And this may be unconventional. Hey guys, it's good to see all of you. It may be a little unconventional what I'm saying, but guess what? It's not going to stop me from saying what I'm saying, because I didn't come for the approval of man. I came for the approval and the praise of God, period, point blank. All right, let's keep going. Let love be without hypocrisy. Abhor what is evil. Cling to what is good. Romans 12:9. Abhor means to despise, to hate, to vehemently be against. Don't be a hypocrite with your love. You either love in all or you don't love at all. Love ain't fake. Love is not fickle. Love is constant. Love is something that is fluid, it's tangible. It will not change. There's no hypocrisy in love. Love is what it is. Period, point blank. Love does no wrong to a neighbor. Therefore, love is the fulfillment of the law. Romans 13:10. Love does no wrong to the neighbor. Turn your TV on and you got somebody knocking on somebody else's door because they don't like the color of their skin and a shot through the door and killed somebody. But I feel it for my life. No, you hated. You didn't have love in your heart. We're just talking. But see, this is the kind of topic or the kind of subject that people don't want to be that they aren't comfortable with. Why? Because it's the truth. But see, from where I'm from, the truth will make you free. Now, the truth may piss you off before you get free, but ultimately the truth is going to make you free. And if I get free, that means I know freedom. And if I'm walking in freedom, that means I have joy. And if I have that joy, there's so many things that I am able to do now because I ain't where I used to be doing what I used to do. I'm not bound to a set or a certain I'm not bound by things that cause me to have to be something that I was never intended to be in the first place. Are you bold enough to stand in your truth before I ever stand in another lie, or before I ever fall in another lie, or fall to another lie, or become victim of another lie? I will stand in my truth. Let's keep going. Let me say it again. Love does no wrong to a neighbor. Therefore, love is the fulfillment of the law. That was Romans 13:10. All these scriptures are New American Standard Bible. Again, do unto others as you would have others do unto you. Love thy neighbor as thy loveth thyself. It's not that complicated. All right, we already read this last week, 1 Corinthians 13:1. Again, this is a different translation. All these scriptures are New American Standard. If I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, but do not have love, I have become a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. So in other words, I can do all these wonderful things by God's Spirit and profess his love. I can profess it. Again, we're going back to hypocrisy. You can say you got it, but it's quite obvious and evident it's not there. So if I'm doing all these, speaking in the tongues of angels, and of men, but I ain't got love, God said, "Guess sit down. You don't sound good to me. I'd rather hear a marching band playing off key, off beat. No, and I don't even want to hear that. Sit down. Have several seats." You don't know that love. And when I don't know that love, I am causing people not to be able to see that accurate representation and that accurate picture or that vision of the one that is capable of totally changing and transforming their lives anyways. And anytime that you see me, you should be able to see the God in me. Anytime that I see you, I should be able to see the God in you, because that's what I connect to. That is how I'm able to that is how he is able to be lifted up and how he is able to be glorified in this earth, by us being obedient. We said it earlier. You should love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and with all of your mind. There's another one. He who has my commandments and keeps them is the one who loves me. And he who loves me will be loved by my Father. I will love him or disclose myself to him. The more of God that you show to other people, the more of God he is going to show to you so that you can continue to do that. First, he's going to move to you and for you for other people. Or let's say it this way. If he can move through you, he will move for you. Or if he moves through you, he's gonna move for you because you were willing and surrendered and allowed him to use you as a vessel to accomplish whatever his will is in the first place. And by so doing, you've touched the lives of other people. And at the end of the day, the blessing of God is on your life. The blessing of the Lord, it maketh rich, and he added no sorrow. Why? Because the blessing is rooted and grounded in love. It's locked in love, and it's unlocked with love. Let us keep going. Love is patient. Love is kind, and it is not jealous. Love does not brag and is not arrogant. Ooh. That's 1 Corinthians 13:4. We read that last week. Love is not jealous. Love does not brag. Love is not arrogant. I could go so many different directions with that right there, but see, I don't use the word to browbeat anybody or to sniper share at you. Because the word needs no proof, or the truth needs no proof. So in other words, the word needs no proof. The truth needs no proof, and the lie doesn't care who tells it. Are you going to speak the truth, or are you going to tell a lie? Which is it? Love does not brag and is not arrogant. And since we're right here, love does not celebrate the misfortunes of another person, and nor does it exploit another person's misfortunes. Love is not going to make you take somebody to lunch and then tell everybody you fed them. That's bragging. There's an arrogance in that. God resists the proud, but he gives grace to the humble. I didn't say it, he said it. I'm repeating it. You got a problem with it? Take it up with him. I dare you to. Let's keep going. Love never fails, but if there are gifts of prophecy, they will be done away. If there are tongues, they will cease. If there is knowledge, it will be done away. 1 Corinthians 13:8. Again, New American Standard. We read that last week too. Let's keep going. But now faith, hope, love abide, these three, but the greatest of these is love. But now faith, hope, love abide, these three, but the greatest of these three is love. 1 Corinthians 13:13. Hope, faith, and love. But of those three, love is the greatest. There's no point in living life if I have no hope. There is no purpose in life if I have no faith. But yet God said, even though you have hope and you have faith, love is the greatest when it comes to love, hope, and faith. And why is that? Because my love perfects my hope and it perfects my faith. Period. Now, this is the kicker right here. We love because he first loved us. Why do you love, Marvin? Because God loved me first. Again, I'm not just going to quote the scripture. The God so loved the world. Okay, so then why aren't you loving the world? If he loved the world to the point that he gave his son, why can't you love? Why are you upset that Black Lives Matter and somebody said that? Or why are you upset that, and I don't want to be biased, but why am I upset about anything that doesn't pertain directly to me? It just so happens that the Black Lives Matter movement, that was one of the things that so many people were up in arms about. That's just one example. And it's not saying that this group of people is so much more important than anybody else. But what we're saying is that if there are two houses that are on fire, though it is true, two things can be true at the same time. Though it is true that both houses are important, the truth of the matter is this house is not on fire, this one is. So the house that is on fire is going to require the most care in that moment because it is on fire. So when I say that this life matters, it is not saying that that life does not matter. But if I have love, there would be no need to explain things like that anyways. Why? Because love is not arrogant, love does not brag, and love is something that is not confused. Love is very confident and blessedly assured that it is what it is, and it understands what needs to be understood. We're just talking. Love. And again, I love myself enough to be obedient to what I know God is saying to me. And again, it hasn't always looked easy. It hasn't always looked like something that I wanted to do. It hasn't always looked like something that was the popular thing to do, because I've said time and again, following God is not going to be popular. You want to see how many friends you can lose, follow God. But that just helps the riffraff fall away. And I'm okay with that, because I'm at an age in my life right now. I know I might not look it, but I'm 51, I'm 55 years old. Not 59, 55 plus 1 year, 51 years old. So yes. And I'm grateful that I've reached a place in this life that I've matured enough to understand that it is not about being liked by other people. Life for me is not about a popularity contest. So it's easy for me to digest the fact that following God is going to cost me something. Freedom is not free. When you try to reach people, when you step into your assignment, do you think it's going to be easy for you to complete the mission? Absolutely not. The mission must be understood by me, number one. And I may not always get things right. So it's going to require courage for me. Number two, as I begin to walk in my purpose, opposing forces are going to try to prevent me from doing those things. So I have to be solidified in my Creator. I have to be confident in myself, and I have to know that I am equipped to be able to deal with anything that may come my way, because nothing can stop me from doing what I've been called to do. And at the end of the day, one of the last things that I need to have is the distractions and the toxicity of other people that are just spectators in the sport. Or I'm not going to say my life is a sport, because it's not, but spectators on the sidelines of what it is I've been called to do. I don't have time for that. Neither should you. You shouldn't have time for that. I just want to do what God says do, how he says do it, when he says do it. If he says punch somebody, I will. But I doubt that he's going to tell me to punch somebody, because he knows I like to throw my hands too much. Just saying. But we're just talking. We're just talking. You know, well, I'll share this story another time. But I can definitely say, when I look at myself, the version of who I have evolved into, I can certainly say I love the man that stares back at me when I look in the mirror. I can honestly say that regardless of whether I have people to my left or people to my right, I am 1000% certain and serious when I say I have found a peace, and a freedom in me that there are times that I just don't want to be around anybody. And I'm one of those people that I always thought that I had to be around people. I had to be in the center of the room. I had to be around a crowd of people. Now, the more energies that are present, I just start getting scrambled, because I don't want to try to, there's just so many different energies at play and so many different frequencies. I just got to pull back, and it's like, ooh, that's just a lot. But I love myself enough to validate myself, to honor myself. I love myself enough to sit back and allow God to bring forth healing in areas in my life that are still untouched. Because I don't want to be responsible for bleeding. I don't want to go forth bleeding all over people that weren't responsible for cutting me. I don't want to treat people the way people that hurt me in my past. I don't want to treat them the same way. I want to grow. I want to hush until I heal, because I'm liable to say the wrong thing in words that are spoken. Once I say it, I can't unsay what I said, which is why I try to grab my tongue so fast. And if you know anything about me, you know the one thing I don't do is I do not try to hold my. I don't try to hold back. Well, okay, let me walk that back. Unhealed Marvin had a knack for getting you together. And it was like it was an art form for me. And it was something that I delighted in. And I took great joy and pleasure in doing. But that came from a place of insecurities and low self-esteem. And when I understood exactly what I was doing, I said, oh, let me grow up, because I'm still being childish and I'm not maturing, right? So now I hush in those areas. So I'll grab it. I have literally walked away. I don't think you guys understand when I say I will throw my hands real quick. Once I had to stand up for myself and I had to fight to protect myself, it's like I went overboard with doing it. And when I was in active addiction, part of my prayer of desperation, the reason that I asked God to deliver me from that darkness, and the reason that I promised him that I would follow him, is because if the drugs weren't going to get me, I knew the lifestyle would, because I knew that one of two things would happen. These were my options. One, I was going to kill somebody, or two, somebody was going to kill me. That was it. And I don't say that as if I'm the baddest thing on this side of the Mississippi River, because I'm not. And I'm not saying that I can't be beaten, because I can. But guess what? What I am saying is that had it been back in that time, that I would still go there. You may beat me, but I promise you, you're going to have a fight on your hands. Because if you back me into a corner, I got to fight with everything that is within me to protect me. And it is just so much easier to operate in, to flow in love, than to carry that anger, that hurt, the fear, and project that onto other people, and to vomit all over other people. That's just too much poison, right? And so I allow the love of God to change me. I love the song by Tamala Mann, "Change Me, oh God, make me more like you." My prayer is, creating me a clean heart, oh God, renew a right spirit within me. And I have to pray that on a daily basis. Why? Because I don't want to be the same person every day. I've come a long way. Over 5.5 years ago now, I made the decision to stop using drugs and alcohol. Why? Because I was self-medicating from things that I didn't feel like I had the opportunity to speak about with religious people in the church, right? I've always hated religion, but I've never hated God. And when I sit back and I look over my life, it's the love of God that directed my steps and aligned my heart, aligned my life to allow certain people access to me. And it promoted healing. And I've learned how to trust people. I've learned how to truly love people. I've learned how to be vulnerable. I don't trust everybody. I'll watch you. We read last week, try the spirit, test the spirit. Everybody that hollers good ain't God. And everybody that says that they speak on behalf of God, trust me, I will try a spirit real quick, and you should do the same thing. But I said all that to say this, because I've taken the time to sit back and actually invest in me. By spending that time with God and cultivating that relationship, I am not who I used to be. And I'm okay with that, because again, I love the man that I have become, and I love the man that I am becoming. Each one of you that is watching this have the potential to have your life altered in the greatest way possible. If and only if you trust God. That's it. If you want to have your life maximized, if it can be done, and there's no if when you introduce God to the equation, but if you want it done, that's the appropriate way to use if you want it done, surrender it to God. Surrender it to God. If you're going to talk Jesus, you might as well, hey, if you're going to go in, go all the way in. because you're either all in or you're not in at all. We're just talking though, but it's been 34 minutes. I was able to talk to you guys a little bit. We continued on with our topic, let's talk about love. Love does a lot of things. At the end of the day, love does more for me than it does for the other person. The more that I love, the more that I change. The degree and the depth to which I love matches the degree to which I transform and that I change in my life. Do I want to continue to be the same, or do I want to continue to change? And if I want to continue to change, love harder, love more, continue to grow in it. Grow in it. So again, I'm winding down. Again, I just want to remind my South Carolina family, just so you guys know, my family in the up north in the Carolinas and Georgia. I am on the lower edge of the cone of this projected storm, Hurricane Milton. So right now, as it stands, I'm safe. I will keep you guys updated on my social media platform. I'm not worried. I'm okay. But again, I will keep you posted to all my friends on the west coast of Florida. Take cover, evacuate, be safe, be smart. I hope that you guys will join me back here next Monday night at 8:30. I don't know if we're going to have a fourth part of this topic or of this series, or if I'm going to start a new series. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I do know I'm going to be speaking the same thing. So if you like what I'm speaking about, I would love for you to continue to join me. You're welcome to be on this journey with me. And if you don't like what I'm talking about, I welcome you too, because I'm going to love you regardless. Again, this has been another successful episode of The Chop with Marvin Lee. I appreciate you for stopping by. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for investing in me. I'll see you guys next Monday night, same time, same platform. Take care, and I love you.